Christine Armstrong of Exercise Ruckus. Today we're gonna work on basic stretches, probably the most fundamental stretches that you can do. This should take about 10 minutes of your day, and you can vary these. I'm gonna give you several different options for the same muscle group. To start with, we're gonna start with our calves. And the one that we're most familiar with is the wall stretch, with our hands on the wall, placing the heel on the ground and behind you and one foot in front of you, and pressing that heel towards the ground, lifting the back heel up, and then slowly pressing the heel down towards the ground, and then working towards pressing the inner heel down into the ground and then migrating towards the outer heel. And then to intensify the stretch, you can rock the hips front to back, gently, and then slowly side to side. Switch to the other side, repeat. Hold each calf stretch for about a minute. The longer you hold it, the more effective it's going to be in releasing some of those muscle groups. Another alternative to that is to place your foot on either a 2x4, works well. I have a dumbbell here. I have a yoga wooden block that I use as well. And so if you're using a piece of wood, you want to put the ball of your foot up onto that surface, and then I can migrate my weight forward, but I need to keep that heel in contact with the floor. The other way to increase this is to lift the toes up towards the ceiling, and I really pull my toes apart and then just put them back to neutral. They don't come back down to that surface. And again, I can repeat with hip rocking front to back or side to side. If I were going to use a dumbbell, I can place my foot in the middle of the dumbbell. This is a little lower, so I can get a little bit farther and bring my opposite foot forward. Again, the heel needs to maintain contact with the ground. You can do both legs and hold for a minute for the best results. My next exercise is a hamstring stretch, and you can use a chair for stability. And so we stand and face the chair, place your heel up on the chair, and then make sure that the bottom foot is pointing forward. That foot will tend to want to turn outward, so we want to make sure that that foot's pointing forward. I have some support here of my wall. You can point and flex the foot, and then as you're able, you can come forward, but you don't want to round out the back. So I've created some curvatures in my spine. I want to try and keep my back flat, that maybe I can come down a little farther. If I can maintain that flatness, I can still do a pretty good job here. And again, I point and flex my foot. If you're unstable, turn your chair sideways. Then that way you can use the hand, the arm, and the back of the chair for balance support. It's still just as effective. And again, you want to hold these for a good minute, maybe a little bit more. If your hamstrings are very, very tight, and even this is too much, you can start with a bent knee and then slowly work on pressing the back of the leg straight. And you may not get there right away, and that's okay. Again, point and flex, and that will help. And then slowly continue to work the back of the leg down towards the floor. This is also very effective to help for any back pain that you might have. And then if you're out and about and you're working out outside and you feel the need to stretch your hamstrings, sometimes they just feel tight. I call this the old Jane Fonda, yay Jane Fonda. So you extend the heel out to the side slightly and press that leg straight, but all the weight is on this other leg, and I rest my hands on this other leg. Most of my weight is supported through here, And the farther I go down, the more I can feel the stretch on the inner thigh and possibly along the outer thigh. And again, you can point and flex to increase your range of motion. And this is a great way to do it. You might not even be able to get this far. If you can go a little farther, you can again reach down and reach for the opposite foot. Okay, so hamstrings. And then my next is shoulders. Love our shoulders. So we use the counter stretch. And the counter stretch is kind of nice because it works two body parts. It works the back of the legs, but it also works the shoulders quite nicely. When you do this, you can use a chair or a counter. It doesn't matter which. And then I like to have my hands a little bit wider than my shoulders. I walk my feet back a fair distance, and then I drop my head between my arms, and I keep my legs as straight as I can. I'm making some adjustments here for space. And then what you can do is you can lift your heels up, so I go up onto my tippy toes, and I extend my buttock up towards the ceiling. And then as I lower down, I want to keep my hips lifted as much as I can so that when I lower my heels down, I've still maintained the height of my hips. And then I can also push my hands into my chair, or if you're on a counter, you can push your hands into the counter to help drop the head between the arms. Again, you want to honor any pain or discomfort that you might have during these stretches. If it's painful, work into that edge of where it's just starting to hurt, and then as you're able, progress from there. And then the next one is a tailor sit. Some of you are familiar with this. If you have hip replacements, you need to go cautiously with these, especially if you've had a posterior hip replacement. We still want to honor some of your restrictions. And so you bring your leg up, and if you have a hard time with hip rotation, slide the heel up the shin, and then I can use my hand to pull the knee up to get the heel up on top of the knee, and then I gently rest it on top of the knee. Now, my hips are quite tight, so this is a tough pose for me. So I work on bringing the knee down. I give it a gentle push. I'm not pulling, I'm not twisting my knee. I'm keeping everything in alignment. My thigh is in line with my shin, and I can use my elbow to press my knee down. And then you can, again, point and flex. And you'll notice that as you push your heel away from you, the connection that it has in the back of the hip, and that's probably where you're stretching. And so pushing the heel away is a nice effective way to increase this attention on this stretch. And then for some of you that are quite mobile and you have great hip mobility, you'll be able to fall forward and lay over your legs. And I cannot go very far. This is about it for me. And again, you want to hold each one about a minute, minute and a half, somewhere in there. And then release it, and don't just dump it out. Give it a hand. Help the leg up, off, release, and then lower. And then do the same thing on the other side. Again, the heel slides up towards the knee, and then you can get a hold of it. The other hand can help lift the leg. And again, you can see my stiffness in my hips. This is my own issue. And then I gently press my knee down towards the floor. I point and flex. I can feel when I flex my foot, I can feel the connection of the heel, and I can gently press my elbow down onto that knee to help lower it. And again, you can fall over the leg. Doing what's comfortable for you. Again, if you have hip replacements, you still need to honor those, but that shin slide is a great way to help you get some more mobility. The goal is to be able to continue to tie our shoes, take care of our feet health. That's also very important. And then the last is a seated twist. And I really like these for a lot of reasons. But you do have to be careful. So if you've had any back surgeries, They usually will restrict your twisting, but the nice thing is that the chair gives you a foundation to work from. So you can feel your hips sitting in the chair, you can feel your bottom on the chair. And so I take the side arm that's closest to the chair back, and I reach back and I place my hand on top of it, and then I take the other hand and I bring it around, but I'm still pointing forward. I haven't really done any twisting yet. And what happens is, because the tilt of the chair, the inside hip wants to sag. Well, I can't let that happen. I want to keep both of my sit bones fairly equal and level. So I put a little more pressure towards the outside leg, and then lengthen your spine. So you inhale, lengthen the back of your spine, get yourself as tall as you can, and then when you exhale, turn and look over your shoulder and use the chair to help turn your body. So I'm turning my ribs, and I'm taking these back ribs and I'm trying to pull those around, and I'm taking my front ribs and trying to move those towards the chair. But imagine your spine rotating around a pole. You don't want to bend the pole and turn. That's not going to help you at all. So you've got to keep that pole nice and erect to turn your spine. Takes a few breaths in that pose. 3 to 5 is good, and then turn around. Settle yourself for a moment. Don't go right into the next one. Just take a moment and then repeat. So again, lifting the head, lengthening the spine, using your arms to help turn and twist. Again, if you've had any back surgeries that is not fully recovered, you need to go cautiously with those. But the goal is to get some more motion through your upper back. I hope this video is helpful for you so that you can have something to work with. And if you need a quick stretch, these are all quick relievers that will help with your shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. Thank you. Have a great day.